Saturday, y'all. Barefoot Bruisers. I'm Sawtooth Dave, and this is a Sawtooth. Back from Will. Thanks again, brother. Appreciate you trading me back for it. It's kind of good to get a Sawtooth back in the collection again. Well, more of a like the other one's stock too, I guess, but more. What's the words I'm trying to say? A better condition Sawtooth in the collection again. Not that I really care. I like my knives mostly beat up anyhow, but it's still cool to have another Sawtooth back in the collection. Full tie, stonewash. Kind of getting rare nowadays. I get hit up every now and then. People wanting to buy, sell, or trade. So like, it's been fewer and fewer. I guess I'm not really promoting it too much either, but you know that comes by less and less these days, I guess. So super glad to get that one back in the collection. Also, the GF1 turned back into another. And if y'all been here for a while, the Treyu. So this Treyu's back. So this one I bought this one and sold this one. I don't know how many times now. I know I've owned it for a little bit. I got it back from him. I don't remember the details. I think someone else might have owned it in the middle too. Maybe two other people. I don't know. I went to Tomas and he wanted to try the GF1. So I traded back for this Treyu. And if y'all know me, you know I already had another one. So I got that one too. This one I did cut that little extra fuller part so I can flick it better. This one does have a double detent where this other one doesn't. It's more stock. I think I probably will end up cutting a little slot in this one too, and then etching the blade. I was out there one night. It was late in the evening. I was working on Evan's knife for that he got from Donnie. I'll show you that in a second here. And I spilt my, it's actually ferrochloric acid, but it's kind of like got a little bit of a copper tone, kind of look to it, rusty, coppery look. But I spilt it. I was about there by the faucet, which is from here probably about, 50 feet or so, but it's around the backside of the shed shop. And there's like a big streak down through the whole yard. Try to wash it with a garden hose, but you ain't washing all that stuff away. So like it looks like a big, huge rust river right there. It's kind of funny. I tried to get rid of it best I could. Old lady was cool about it, but still it happened, What you gonna do, right? I might as well show you that knife now. And while I'm going through it, I just want to say I briefly touched upon it. Evan just let me borrow these, but like this one in particular is Sam Morse. Like my initial impressions was it's still more of a regular knife, just with a long length and stuff on it. But the more I play with it, the more I use it, the more I'm really starting to really appreciate this knife for what it is. Not that I didn't before, but like, man, it's just, it's not the full size. It's not the bruiser that I like, but for a secondary or like, for most of you guys, I would say probably would be a full size bruiser for most of you. This one, I highly recommend. Still haven't talked to the maker, but I don't know if he does the Blade Show or not. If he's at Blade Show, I'm definitely gonna be talking to him. I'm also tempted really to put one on order, but at a certain point, like right now, I'm at a point where I downsize a good bit. I'm happy with that downsize, and I need to start thinking about what I want to do for equipment wise, so I can get better at making stuff. Part of that is me figuring stuff out. Part of that is the equipment part of figuring stuff out. I could probably make it work with what I got, but I'm not going to really get to the quality standard I really want if I don't do some changes or, make some changes, I guess I would say. I'm having to do stuff different ways than I would already think about how I set it up as a machinist because just of the equipment I have. I think I've already explained this 1.5 million times to you guys, but it can be frustrating at times, and it also at other times very rewarding. So it's just one of those things, man. It's part of growing into the knife making, right? So this is the Blessed Ripley, and Evan just wanted it rounded out. When I talked to him about it, he's like, basically, sometimes he carries this in the waistband. So in the waistband, it's going to get in your stomach stick. So the stock ones had more of a point, and I did check with Donnie. Donnie gave his blessings, but we just rounded it all off. So I try to mimic his chamfer going around there and try to make it look like it could have been done by him. This is just Living and Blasted. I did have to refinish. This is Damascus. This is Damascus. The backspacer is Damascus. So obviously I changed both of those. So I had to redo both of those with the etching. This is what I spilt all over the backyard back over there. So it is what it is, right? This one, man, I tell you what, dude, like it's not a bruiser at all. It really ain't. But it's still a really fun knife, and like really have enjoyed playing and checking this one out. And I know Donnie said he's gonna bring some stuff to Blade Show too. I would love to snag something earlier on, because I think this is number 11, if I'm not mistaken. Ripley 11, I believe that's what it said on the inside. So it's still fairly early in his career to get a knife from him, and I can see this guy going huge places. So like, he's gonna be especially once his equipment catches up to where his like desire is right now. Like, and I'm not pulling punches at all. It's great quality. When he gets better equipment, the guy's gonna be dangerous. You know, he's got that creative ability. But I just wanted to show you all this. So right now it's just aluminum oxide blasted. It might be a little greasy too, sorry. It's just aluminum oxide blasted because it's my finish. I like to do my finish my way. He gave me the recipe for doing the darkened tie that this one was to start with. I'm a little nervous to be trying it because I've never done it before, and I'll probably have to play with some titanium and see if I want to do it. But when I showed it to Ev like that, Ev was like, just leave it like that. So, I'm a little mixed on that too, because I would like to give it back to Ev the way that Donnie let it leave his shop. So it like, Donnie's blessing kind of thing. But if it don't work out, then it is what it is. Like, aluminum oxide, to me, I love that finish. It kind of goes with that Damascus pretty well to me as well. But I'm just trying to stay as true to the maker as I can doing my work. I'm not the creator on that, right? It is what it is, right? I'm trying to do right by everybody, I guess. So it remains to be seen whether it gets blackened or stays like that. This is the one that Josh had trouble flicking it. Now, I'm not like I know I've already talked about this, hand dexterity or whatever else, like, and doing this, but like, love this freaking thing. But anyway, it's back. Now I got to make the decision. Do I want to resell this one and hope someone has the strength to flick it? Or should I keep it? Or maybe put the other blade in it? I know a lot of y'all like the other blade too. I'm more partial to this one because it's got a different feel to it. It's got a little bit more of a heavier bruiser feel to it. So I'm kind of debated, but if anybody does have interest in this, let me know. I may work out something with you. And then, it may be one of those things where I got to send it to you to check out. If you like it, you can buy it kind of thing. But I don't know. This is still here for the time being. It's still available for the time being. I think I'm gonna hold on to this Atreyu right now. I was thinking about putting it back up too, but I think the buy sell trade's kind of like it rippled out enough, right? Everybody's got enough stuff going through it for the most part, right? In the process, Denise ended up trading me the clips. Remember the clip I was telling you last week? I should have brought that one out of here, but it was just the other one was bougie, but it's one of them square clips like that DSK puts on all his stuff. I had traded Denise that clip, and I was getting ready to send it, and I was like, man, it's kind of pointless just to send you a clip. Like, there's got to be something else in my collection that you want to check out. So she's like, yeah, just send me that VXC. So I just sent her a VXC. Wasn't for her, but it's cool. She got to check it out. She got to make her own opinion about it, which is one of the cool things about loaning somebody a knife, like especially like I was talking about that Morse and the Bless. The Bless originally kind of caught me more than the Morse did. Like his quality, it captivated me right away. So I was like very much attracted to that knife, like immediately. Like I loved playing with it, and I spent time with it, whatever else. The Morse had to grow on me, but since I've played on that Morse, I love it. But that's what I like about borrowing knives, because it's not like you just get to hand it somebody and they play with it for 2 seconds, and it may or may not have an impression. Like some of my favorite knives are knives that I've had in hand for longer, I've tried to use, and then like, oh, I see what the maker was doing. I get it now. Oh, by the way, I'm rocking Scotch and Thing style today. I just realized glasses up top, glasses down low, depending on where you're at, kind of switch them around. This is generally how I run around too. So he and I about the same vintage, if you will. But anyway, so I sent one for Denise to check out. So obviously she was sending that clip back in for me. So she sent a couple for me to check out. And I didn't really, we had talked about her sending a Bless, but she was like, I can't let my one Bless go until I get the other Bless. She had to have like at least one of them. And spoken like a true knife addict is what I told her. But anyway, she sent a couple Dalibors. So this little guy, I believe it's called a Pollock. I don't know. I can't remember exactly. But it's a little guy. Paul, this might be up your rally, bro. I know you like them little knives, and it's chunky, dude. It's a good little chunker. Got a good thickness on the blade stock, but it's a little guy. He's a little guy. So obviously he's not really one for me. But as far as like a cool look, man, can you imagine that as a bigger knife? Yeah, me too. I think that's a definite. It's a definite cool idea to try to do something like that. And I like the grinds on it, everything about it. Like it's just sweet. Dalibor's work is so unique. If you've never handled a Dalibor, they're just like, I don't even know who to describe it, like his work is being like. But it came in this little leather pouch, which I thought was kind of weird. Never seen anybody make a leather pouch. And it's very well crafted, but like, you know, apparently the pocket clip's not what he wants to do. He wanted to protect it, so he made a clip. It doesn't look like it's been carried with this either, because you don't see any like belt marks or anything like that. So I don't know. Denise got it like this, so it's not like she got it made. But it's cool. It's a cool leather pouch to check out, but it's a cool little one to check out. Y'all know already, in the past I've talked about, I got this unnamed. This one came through Carco. Super proud to have got that one. And I had a blast. It had a bunch of funky anno and like the bougie, I don't know, the stuff that some people like on, like the clip that I was showing last week. And then this one came from Denise, the Draco. So Draco originally came to me for work because it was the jimping's sharp. It's crude. It's a little more on the my style knife, a little more robust and less refined, but tough still at the same time. Like I can't really like hand you the knife to show you how thick the grind is, but I can show you the tip, right? Nice thick tip, so you can tell by that it's robust as hell on the tip. This hollow grind, which I'm never going to be able to put that in video to be able to show you guys, but you can see how tall the grind is. So it's a good, decent hollow grind on it right behind it. So love this combination. I've actually mimicked this combination on quite a few knives, on regrinds and that sort of thing. And the second one she sent it came in the same thing. It's also Dalibor, and if you know Dalibor, it's Oberon. As soon as I got this one out, I flicked it and I went, oh damn, I'm gonna need me an Oberon. So this is kind of a combination of both of those other ones. Obviously the blade shape you may or may not like. I think of it more like a rhino nose. That's kind of how it comes off to me. Everybody's got their own impressions depending on how you hold it or whatever else. But like, I just think I dig it, man. Like it's aggressive where it needs to be, and I don't know. It's either connect. It's like Zuzu or Carter Edge Mindset did a video about the Strider thing. I think that came out yesterday or today or something, about like either you get it or you don't kind of thing, and if you don't worry about it. that's Dalibor, man. Like if you've never handled Dalibor and you're looking at this going, why do people like Dalibors? Why would they pay that much money for a knife like that? If that's not your thing, like if you don't see it, then no need to pursue Dalibors. But for those of us who do, that are lucky enough to put our hands on these, because like when I got that unnamed, I think I handled Jeff's. I think I handled Jeff's before that, but that unnamed was the first one, like, that I could possibly have owned, like, to be able to get that one. I'm still shocked that I own 2 of those Dalibors. And honestly, how this was supposed to work out, this is going to be a little bit of a hook here, so I think you probably are leading into it. I'm going to pause and we'll go continue the story in a second. If any of you guys watch Brother Ken Faulkner, he does Faulkner 5, which is like he picks up 5 knives from his collection. He carries them for a week. He might carry, the second knife, something different, maybe even third knife, I don't know. So I figured, you know what? I carried that heater the whole first week, so it can be a Sawtooth 6. Like we can do the whole 6 weeks before Blade Show, no bind. This will keep me covered until I get to Blade Show. So all this week, I've carried my Damascus kickstand, another knife with it too, but every day this one's been in the pocket, and you can probably see by the wear and tear on it that it has been put to use this week. not abused, but I use my shit, so I'm not afraid to use it. And even Damascus, yeah, it's gonna get scarred up and beat up, but you know what? If I have to, I can always come back and re-etch it. Who cares? Plus, like I said before, I like my knives a little more beat up. I think they have more class like that way. I know it's not the general opinion of the public, but there's no sense of really giving me a whole lot of review. It was basically this go around, like, my first collection kind of went away. I was left with pretty much Sawtooth, a couple of the ZTs and smaller things, but a handful of knives, less than 10 knives for sure. And then I started building the collection back up, 2018, 19, probably 2019 actually. Started getting back into the collecting thing way more. Like a lot of people seem to have gotten ramped up at about that time, but when I quit collecting, Chinese knives were just kind of becoming quality knives at that point. So like it'd been quite a few years, so it was a lot of learning to catch back up. Anywho, that was the first DSK that I bought to reinvigorate my DSK collection. I had owned a kickstand before. I think I owned a GF1 before, but it's hard to remember. Like back in those times, I think I'd own a Direware. Darcy swears that we owned, Hot Rod swears that we owned a Direware back in then. I don't really remember it, but that's not saying a whole lot. Like, I went through a motorcycle wreck. I was all mentally blocked for long. A lot of fog and a lot of stuff before that I don't remember. So, like, you just no telling, man. There's a lot of stuff in my memory. My memory's not good now, but, I mean, it wasn't good then, but now it's, like, even worse. Okay, so fast forward to what I was talking about, the Oberon right here. So, as soon as I got it out of the package, I was like, man, this thing is sweet. I'm going to have to find me a Dalibor or Oberon. And told Denise as much. I think I got it on... I think I got this on Friday. Well, about, let's see, what time was that about? About 7 hours ago or so, Denise hit me up, said, you want it? It's yours. This is how much I want for it. And I was like, you know, I'm not supposed to be buying nice before Blade Show, but I'm not passing this one up, because if I saw this at Blade Show, I would 100% buy it. So I kind of looking at it like, last year I got kind of the Rogovitz was supposed to hit about Blade Show. I'd already paid for it, and it came in after Blade Show. What are you going to do, right? You know, like, it was a mix-up with a box, and I'm like, I don't care about a box. And he was thinking I wanted a Rogovitz style box. It was kind of an ordeal thing, but it worked out. So that's why I'm looking at this one. So this is like a pre-blade purchase. Brother Ken does this too. We have our little slip-ups, you know, like. But I'm gonna carry this one a whole week so that I can feel like it's part of the Sawtooth 6 as well. So like 6 weeks before Blade Show, even though I wasn't supposed to buy something, it's still going right into the Sawtooth 6. So we'll go call that, because it's brand hammer new to me. And I got to learn the knife anyhow, so one out of better chance of carrying it for a whole week. And it's a Dalibor, man. Like, you know, it's an honor to carry something like this for a whole week. You know, like it was the MOW, like it was the kickstand. Like, these are some of my top tier favorite knives. So like, I'm gonna carry this one for a week. I'll give you a better opinion of it next week. I said I wouldn't give you a review of kickstand, but a kickstand kicks ass. Like, that's all there is to it. It's just a badass knife. I love it a whole lot. Drinkwater got the other smaller kickstand, the Gen 2 kickstand. He seems to love it too. So hopefully, you know, spread the DSK love out. Hopefully that's cool. I may sell a few more before Blade, depending on how it goes. Yeah, I don't know. It depends, man. The collection now is at a point where it's super refined, right? Like, it's only like a handful of ones that I would really like want to, not necessarily want to part, but be willing to part with versus kind of wanting to keep. But we'll see how it goes. All right. So as far as working the shop, that's all the collecting side of things. I think for an hour and a half. As far as the work style of shop, what I got done in the shop this week, that's what I'm trying to say. See, I'm better in the morning sometimes. I'm better in the evenings other times. Like, last week I rambled way more than I thought I was going to. This week, it's kind of late at night. We didn't have a busy day, but we had a consistent day, you know. But my mind's kind of a little bit on the fried side today. I drove a lot. So I was trying to do these videos as I go on, a kind of a progression. So as we go in there, I'm gonna let you guys see. I'm gonna let you kind of go through the process as I went through the process, and I'll probably have to edit and then interject and that sort of thing, and then I'll come back and close the whole video down so it kind of all ties together. So we'll stop this one here and go from there. All right, so this is gonna be kind of a walk you through it, or I don't know, step by step, here we go kind of thing. I don't know what you want to call it, but Billy's and Cozy. So Mike the stock blade. What you mean, Mike, is just, you know, I took the stock blade and I checked the thickness of it, see how thick it was. It's basically 139.5, so right at 140 thousandths thick of a blade stock. So I went ahead and ordered. I've always heard that this K390 is good stuff. I've never had any. This is pre-flat ground K390, so it's already double disc ground. It's 143 thousandths, 13 inches long, 1.5 inches wide. Figured I can probably make a couple of these, maybe 3, who knows. So the first step I did was, I had to measure all this stuff, but I got a special reamer. It's somewhat of an unusual size, and I don't know if you guys realize it. I didn't really realize it till it's been a while since I had a Sierra Cater part, but the pivot on these things is over 5/16. So it's way bigger, beefier pivot than almost everybody else uses in their knife. So first thing I did was start off and ream that hole in this blank piece of steel. This is the steel I just showed you a minute ago. This is the K390. So the first thing I did was just ream that hole to that 316. Normally I go undersize and then cut it when it's done. This K390 is supposed to heat treat to like, I don't know, like up in the upper 60s. So I don't think anything I have is going to cut it after the fact. So I went ahead and put it on the right size, which most other people do that anyhow. I don't know why. I'm stubborn and try to ream afterwards. But second thing I did is I don't have a way to lay out this detent hole because the ball that's in this lock bar is in there to angle. I can't really show you, but it's in there to angle. If you've had it in Cozy apart, you know what I mean? Like the ball is part of the lock face. So it's not like a traditional detent where it's straight in drilled and I can just go back through that hole and drill another detent. So I had to lay it out with this one. So if you see what I did right here, I got both these aligned. These are gauge pins and they both slide up and down, no problem. Which means this pin alignment, the alignment between these two is pretty dang close. So I'm pretty close to the same spot they are in there. Obviously I had to remove the thumb studs in order to do that, but we doing some crazy stuff to a CRK anyhow. So you basically see where I'm at. Now, I got this much to play with, and I got that much to play with to see what fits in the handle and what shape I want to make. I don't really have to do anything else. The only other thing I really have to do at this point, you know, this is the stop pin, so I have to make it hit the stop pin here and here. And that's the two things I really have to concentrate and make do. So I could go lay this out, which I'm probably going to do is take some Dykem and Dykem this whole thing up. To lay out the area where the stop pin goes here and the stop pin goes there, but I'm gonna go a little bit short, not quite as far as what I normally would go, and then I'm gonna put it in the frame and kind of start fitting it. But this is the very first step in this process, so I figured I'd just show you that on the way in. All right, progress update there. So you can see the pin's still in there. You can see I basically trimmed around this whole thing. You see a little material that's proud on the blade stock, and this little material that's proud here. Enough for the cutting the lock face later. But I got pretty close in here, a little proud right there. But I'm trying to do everything where it's a little bit extra material so I can file it in or sand it in or whatever I try to do to try to get it in. So the next step as far as what I see it is to kind of sort of throw it on the frame and then test it from there and see where we go. So we'll get rid of the actual blade frame side. So on the Incosys, you can just tighten this and this pivot, this pin slides in the other side. So basically it's going to be exactly the same, but we got luckily on this side, you get the, where am I at, the camera was, you can see the detent now, and it's also the lock face too. So like this has to line up a certain way, right? So you put it on this, you see how it can't get past the stop pin, so it's hitting that corner, which is what we saw a minute ago is proud. So that's good. We just have to fit it to fit that corner. We'll just take it off nice and slow. So I'm gonna pick this off and rotate it. So far we're so good. And then on this side, you see it rolls. So from here in, it's fine. And then it stops right there. You can see the spot where I got it marked, where it was proud before, where I had it in the frame. And if you look through there, let's see if I can turn it this other way. You see the detent needs to go, the holes on this side and the detent slightly that way. So it needs to come this way just a little bit more, which is exactly what this is telling us. So if we file a little more material here, we're just gonna fit it. And this is the process, like over and over and over. Keep doing this until I get it fitted up. All right, so the next step pretty much got done. You're not gonna be able to feel the detent on it, but as I roll this, come back in here, you can see that the pin clears. This is the stock blade. Behind it, you can see some of it's still proud, but it still clears everything. So it goes past everything, and I can actually feel it. I don't know if you saw it or not, but it actually sucked into the detent. It may need a little bit more to suck a little bit more, but like now, like, you know, CRKs aren't the poppiest detents, but it's got a good feel to it. So it's sucking back in there like it's supposed to. So for right now, I'm gonna leave it like it is. I can always open it up later. But the main thing is, let me take the stock blade out of the way. This is just showing you the difference between the two blades. Hope you see it. So back here, doesn't really matter the shape because I'm just trying to lock into the stock pin as it locks out. Right? And the shape of the blade doesn't matter because I can cut this however I want to. It's nothing set in stone over here, blade shape was. So stop pin works here. The stop pin works here. That's the main thing I wanted to be able to show you, and that'll be more evident when I show you here. So let's see if I can show you the detent. So it does suck it in a little bit. It's not all the way positive, but it's in there. It's doing it. And the same thing with here. So you got a good engagement for stop pin in both places. So the next step pretty much is to figure out what shape I want to cut. Go ahead and cut the shape out, rough it out, and then keep working it from there. Options list, bro. So here it is closed. I got kind of going right around with the tops that don't hang out. Excuse all the paint marks. I just was playing around with some designs. All right, so here we are. If I can hold it there. Here we are all the way out. So these are just ideas for grinds. Possibly a stud here. Another idea for a grind. Possibly a slot there. We could do slots on both sides. We could do studs on both sides. We could do a combination stud and slot. And any combination of grind. Even if you don't like any of these two. I'm not super fond of this one. I'm not sure how I'd make that work. But, you know, ideas. I'm just throwing around ideas. So, what you thinking? Oh, and jimping or no jimping. So I put it like, it's got a thumb ramp in it. If you can see it. I don't know if you can see it or not. But, so, let's see if I can hold my hand right. It's got a thumb ramp in it. It'll work. But if you want to put back, you might want jimping. So I don't know. Let me know. All right, so what the video clips ain't showing y'all is, I laid out the lock face. You probably see that dicom right there, and I had a scribe line. You can probably see how it's really right close to that scribe line. So this video I'm showing you multiple days, just like when I have time and that sort of thing. Yeah, overcut the lock bar, so the lock face. So the only way I can save this one, it still works as you saw on the clip. It still works fine on an Nkosi. The only way I can save it now is to make a lock bar insert for an Nkosi to make it stick out, because it's basically, I overpassed it. Excuse me. I don't know. I'm going to guess like 50, 60,000, something like that. I went way past it. Mainly because in order to lay this thing out, normally I can lay them out through I take like the lock bar like this, and I'll take a little razor knife and I'll scribe it. I'll liken the blade up and I'll scribe it. Obviously it's going to be it'd be more like in the out position like this, but I scribe it on the blade where this lock face would interchange on the blade, so it gives me a line to go off of. So when I'm grinding it, I grind it in a position, lay it out. I got a jig that I use sometimes for the mill on this particular case, because the CRK is actually locking up on a ball. I think I showed you on the inside, but I didn't really describe it. I'm just going to try to sand it, and that's why I'm just pretty much laying it out and sanding it. And if you follow Todd Heater on Instagram, he just did a couple videos on the way he does it. The problem is, and this is a problem I had, at least on this, is you're grinding blind. So with that line scribed, what I had to do is take the old blade and basically take the original blade, which I don't have out, sorry. I'm just going to use this as an example. I'd take the original blade, put it on top of it, and scribe the line. Because of how I did it backwards. So I did the opposite side, of the blind side of where I should have done it. So I thought I was coming up to the line and I was going to be good and I could work it in slowly. Problem was, I laid it out from the other side of the blade, if that makes sense. Your block face is cut at an angle, so you got a low side and a high side. Well, if you scribe it on the high side, your low side's going to slide right in. So I overcut the lock face by whatever that angle is there. Let's learn, man. Anyway, what I was going to say about Todd Heater is he does videos on how he grinds MOWs, and he does it blind. So, like, he figured out where his lock face goes on, and he's not looking at a scribe line from where the lock face is going, and he's looking at it from the opposite side. So, it's just how you lay it out. So, mentally, I confuse myself. Like, it happens, right? So, this one's not scrap, but it's going to take an Nkosi and to make a lock bar insert for it. So, I think I probably will end up saving this one. I told Steve he could have it if he wanted it. So if Steve buys it in Nkosi and does it, I'm going to hook it up for him, because I still think this is a cool blade shape. But the second time around, which you're about to see that video now, after I screwed this one up, I was like, you know what? I'm not going to let it get me down. I'm going to press on. I'm going to go ahead and forge tour, and I'll make the next blade. And so the next blade, you can see, I'll show you in the next clip. That's the next video showing it. So that's just the explanation of what had happened in the middle of that. All right, bro, round two. Obviously, you can see I went with studs. Just wasn't a whole lot of room to get a thumb stud in there. I mean, the thumb hole in there. You'd have to be taller in order to make it work. And I did a slot on the backside with the exposed screw. I can kind of bore that, but I kind of thought that looked cool, especially with that groove right there. So a little less aggressive on the blade, a little more, I guess, normalish. Let's call that normalish. Even though it's not normalish for a CRK, but with the thumb ramp like it is, you don't need any jimping. I don't think you're ever gonna need jimping. It's perfect the way it is without that thumb. And like I said, a little less aggressive. But anyhow, figured I'd show it to you. I gotta clean it up and get it ready for heat treat, but it's progress. So, I learned a lot in that process, right? I messed one blade up, decided to go ahead and roll the punches, make the next one. So I made it. It worked out fine. Essentially, that first one can be saved. You know, like I don't have it all figured out. But I figured, you know what? If I'm going to heat treat, I might as well just do all three of them at once. Like I may hold off on that first one that got scrapped, or I'm gonna call it scrap right now. The mistake I made, put it that way, I may hold off on heat treating it and do this in Cozy. But I figured, well, I got this other stock. Let me go out and cut another one. So I'm gonna show you pictures of this next time. It's just gonna be still pictures of. I went ahead and started working on my Unum Zon too. So I made a Zon reblade too. I was originally gonna try that first blade shape. I ran out of material. So what you're seeing is what I can make of what material I had left. So it's already kind of sort of prepped. So you're gonna see kind of the pictures of it. Just I don't have a couple things worked out. So I either have to drill the stop pin for it for the close position, or modify the stop pin and make it kind of a oblong shape or some kind of funky shape to work for the closed position, detent hole, and that sort of thing. But other than that, the knife functions fine. Not 100% sure if I'm going to do back spacers in any of these, but it was fun to do it. The K390 project made 3 knives for that. What was it? $101. So for basically, we'll call it $35, you know, on the safe side for all 3 of those. Basically material costs, obviously my time, but like, you know, I'm not worried about that right now. I'm just trying to describe this from a monetary point of view. I'm debating on whether to finish that first Inkosi blade or not, because honestly, I think it could make, I know I can make a cool blade out of it. I just don't know if the person's getting it is going to want thumb studs, fuller, like I would see it. I probably will go ahead and make it and do all 3 heat treats at one time. The reason I'm thinking that is because I can get that dewar filled up for like $30. So basically for $45, under $50, I can get 3 K390 blades, heat treated and cryoed, and the material costs. And the only reason I'm saying this is, like, if you follow Nick Edwards Behind the Edge, like that's one of his favorite steels, and like he's always wondering like why people don't do more K390. I wanted to find out. So obviously this material is not thick. I showed you at the beginning, it's 143 thousandths to start with. Time we do a little sanding on it, and I'm not saying I'm removing a ton of material, but you can see this one's been sanded on. You can see a little witness marks for where that washer is back on there when I was making sure everything was good. But like you can see, it's been sanded on a little bit. I'm probably not removing 3,000, but it's fairly close to what the stock width of that blade was. So really I'm not changing the blade stock at all. And the Unum Zon happened to be the exact same blade thickness, so it worked out good for that. But it's the first non-bruiser reblade that I've done. The first ceramic ball, blind hole, detent, and lock face that I've done. So all learning curves for me. I have ground blades that thin, so I'm not too worried about, you know, grinding it. Obviously, I do better some days than do other days, and I probably should like grind more to keep the skills up. But it is what it is. I can't really get back into it right now. 3 months from now, maybe I'll do it again. I don't know. Same with the mod work. People hit me up about mod work. I still keep saying, y'all, go to Paul. That's the one person I know that does the best he can with everything he gets. If it's more advanced stuff like machine work and that sort of thing, hit up Rodney from Knifetastic. He's the man too. So I'm gonna post pictures of this stuff if I haven't already. I don't think I will post them on top of my face because I just want to say bye to y'all anyhow. I'll give you the review of the Oberon next week. Sawtooth 6. Sorry, rip you off, Ken. I had to do it, bro. All right, y'all be cool. See y'all later.